today is unveiling the coat of shame. Wow, that's a big one. Say your story, share your story. People need to hear your story. That's what a lot of people say, right? At least that's what I've heard in the past, still hear it today. What does that even mean? Can anyone share their story? Should everyone share their story? Will everybody's story help someone or even help themselves? Maybe, maybe not. So why don't we? Shame. Hi everyone, I'm Toyin Okanuga. I am the CEO of Hush to Roar. Today, I'm talking full on about unveiling the coat of shame. And the reason I'm talking about this is because, one, I've come out. I'm no longer ashamed of my story. I'm no longer ashamed to talk about it, about the abuse that I encountered as a child, even though it happened so many years ago and people might say, just shut up and go and sit down. No, it's not like that, guys. This is about healing. It's about being comfortable in your own skin and helping others too. So a little bit of background, I won't delve into it because I want you to go and buy Hush to Roar because it says everything in there. But when people say, share your story, tell us your story, bring out your story, it's everywhere. Does that mean everyone should share their story if it can help someone? Or is that selective? Should it be selective? So when I used to hear that so many years ago, over 15 to 20 years ago, I used to cringe and say, Toyin, they're not talking to you because it's not your story that everyone can hear. I used to be very uncomfortable not sharing my story, but I knew I couldn't because I was ashamed. Guilt, loyalty, cultural norms were all holding me back. And then I started to have ailments and physical ailments that were excruciating. I didn't know that it was to do with what I'd gone through as a child. How would I? It's not the norm, is it? But I gained that inner peace when I started to heal. I knew that what I had or what I needed to do was all within me. And even though I'd shouted out that as if I wanted everyone to be up in arms and help me and say they're going to fight my corner, and I knew it was impossible for them because of shame, I had to do it alone because I knew that I couldn't place responsibility on other people. But I had to also stop blaming people for where I was in my life. But in order for me to do that, I had to own my story and I had to unveil the coat of shame and say, you know what? I am not what happened to me, guys. What happened to me was not me, not my fault. But also, I've healed now, I'm healing. Why should I still bear shame? And shame, what does shame do to us? It cripples you. It makes you feel unworthy. It makes you feel it's your fault. It does all sorts of things to you. I decided no more. No more shame, no more guilt, no more, no more. Because every day, even though mine happened over 30 years ago, what I want in the world, which is peace for children, to sleep at night in peace, in their community, in their homes. It was not happening. It's still not happening. The lockdown was one, even though I'm healing. That's why I say healing, because I never think I can fully heal from the trauma. But I'm healing, I'm progressive, I'm well. I look after me now. And that's why shame is no longer there. So when I say healing, it's because there's still a lot of things in the world. And of course, it's a progressive way. And I don't think anyone truly, truly, truly heals. But I'm right up there. There are children in the community now who would be going through similar situations that I went through. And that brought up some terrible memories. And I thought, Lord, I've got to do this. Wow. And those are that's the sort of empathy you have when you've gone through those situations. People can't understand. They'll say you're not forgiven because you're revealing. You can, because you have, as I say, it's contemplative. When you get to a level where you are no longer ashamed, it means you are non-dual. You're not saying you're forgiving this person, but also you're going to keep quiet for that child to keep suffering. That's where I come into. That's why it's so easy for me to reveal, because I don't feel any more shame. What I feel is empathy, compassion for children, so much so that I believe shame should not have a hold on our lives if we know that we've been put on earth to do what we're meant to do. If we believe in God that we say we serve and will bring us through it. This vision is bigger than me. But shame, it imprisons the victim. And I no longer say I'm a victim anymore. And that's a good thing. Because when you're a victim, that means you're still blaming someone for your life circumstances. In my opinion, anyway. I was a victim for so long, but that kept me imprisoned even more. But I'm no longer that victim. I just believe I'm no longer a victim. Something did happen to me, and that was my life circumstance at that time, but that's not my life, if that makes sense. So when you're a victim, when you're abused as a child, you either become a victim as you're growing older, or you become a perpetrator. And if you're neither of those, that means you're getting to that enlightenment of higher places, of knowing that your emotions and feelings, you can be in control of them, and say your past has no power in your present. You can say that this is now, you are safe now. I am victorious, thank you. You can say, so I would say to my little Toyin, to my little Bass, because I have two names, that you are safe now. You don't need to be afraid. You don't need to be jumpy. Just talk to you, inner self. All the joy you need is inside of you. And when you no longer feel shame, it's so much power within you, because you don't think that anything you say to people doesn't matter, because you've got nothing to hide, nothing to protect. The world can know it. You put your head up high, but it's a lonely journey, guys. It's a lonely journey. If you know it's a family member or friend, people will disown you. You'll be ostracized because they'll think, why are you uprooting this? That should be buried. Now you're dragging us all into it. No, we're not the ones dragging them into it. It's the person that did it that's dragged them into it. So let's be clear. I've done nothing wrong. I was a child. I did nothing wrong. I just wanted to be happy and play in the woods, play and make daisy necklaces, play with my dolls, exceed in school. I studied hard. So when people tell you you're dragging and bringing up the past, say, no. I just wanted to be a child like every other child. I didn't do this, and you have to make them know if you're ready to go alone. And that's why shame is no longer part of me, because I'm ready. I began with the end in mind, and I knew that this would come. I knew I'd have a lot of pushbacks, but I'm ready, because God is greater, that is within me, is pulling me through. And I believe it's for a greater cause. Get this, Hush2Rule. We need to spread the message. It's no longer about the money, because the money is nothing there. But it's about the message in this book. Being intentional about our parental responsibilities is key now. We can no longer pretend that we don't have the information. The information is out there for us to learn. Knowledge is power. Knowledge about yourself is self-empowerment. And that's what I learned about me. And that's why I'm sharing this. And it's at the root of my being. I love you guys. I really do. And remember, your inner child has a voice. It has a voice for us to stop suppressing it and thinking the shame is just holding us captive. Don't suppress it. Let it roll.